My name is Kat and this is my problem presentation video. I chose problem number 31. A crepe recipe calls for 2 eggs, 1 cup of flour, and 1 cup of milk. How much flour do you need if you use 5 eggs? Step 1 to problem solving is understanding the problem. What we know is that milk is irrelevant, so we don't have to worry about that. We also know that it is a 2-to-1 ratio. For every 2 eggs that we use, we have to use 1 cup of flour. And we know that we used 5 eggs. So we're turning this 2-to-1 ratio into a 5 to x ratio, and we have to figure out what x is. Step 2 is making a plan. What we're going to do is simplify the ratio with a fraction, and then we'll multiply it by the number of eggs. So we'll execute. We're looking for x number of cups. So we have 2 eggs and 1 cup, and we'll simplify it down. So we'll divide it in half to make this into 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we get 1 egg. And then 1 cup divided in half, we can do 1 divided by 2, which turns it into 1/2. So then we have 1 egg to 1/2 cup. We can then multiply that by the number of eggs, which is 5. So we do 5 times 1, which is 5. And we do 5 times 1/2, which is 2.5. When we multiply 1 by 5 eggs, we get 5, so we have 5 eggs, as we're supposed to. When we multiply 1/2 by 5, we get 2.5, so we have 2.5 cups for 5 eggs. But how do we prove that? Well, we can do a couple equations to make sure that every step along the way is correct. 2 divided by 2 is going to be 1. Anything divided by itself is always going to be 1. I cannot, for the life of me, remember long division right now, so I did addition. As one of the ways that you can figure out what 1 divided by 2 is. You can just reverse it and pretty much multiply it by 2 or just add it. A half and a half is going to be 1 whole. We can also just divide the 1 by 2. So you would do 1 divided by 2, which comes out to be a whole fraction of 1/2. So we know that 2 divided by 2 is going to be 1, and that 1 divided by 2 is going to be 1/2, which makes this section correct, that 2 divided in half is 1, and 1 divided in half is 1/2. Then we multiplied that by 5. I just did addition again because it was the easiest thing. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 is going to be 25. So we put a 5 here and carry the 2 down, making it 2.5, putting the decimal in the middle. Anything times 1 is going to be itself. So 5 times 1 is going to be 5. And we just proved that 5 times 1/2 is 2.5. But to make sure our math is correct, we can turn it back into whole numbers and simplify it again. So we can multiply it by 2 or double it. 5 times 2 is 10, and 2.5 is 5. 5 plus 5 is 10, and carry the 1, which makes this 5 altogether with the decimal. So now that that ratio is brought to 10 to 5, we can simplify it back down into whole numbers again, dividing it by 5, dividing it by this number here. 10 divided by 5 is 2, and 5 divided by itself is going to be 1, which brings us back to 2 to 1. 2 to 1 being our original ratio, so we know that we have brought it from our original ratio to the 5 eggs and back down to the original ratio.